How should the kids deal with always wanting more and being good?
For me, is what I've learned, that when you really want something, you know, and you really want to feel better in life and you really want to be happier, it's a form of greed. So that's one thing that took me a long time to learn, you know, that to be like I and understand the things that you understand in life is not for your benefit, it's for the world's benefit and life's benefit itself. You're just a leaf on a tree, and for you to be an example to all the other leaves on the tree. You can't tell them. You can only be an example. You can only live your life the way it's supposed to live and let other people see through that and question it. And if they ask you, well, then you can tell them what you feel and what you think. But you should never, lay your trip on people and tell them what they should think or how they should act or how they should be. I never even told my children growing up. My youngest son now's becoming vegetarian, and that was his choice. It wasn't mine, it was his. And that's what I want from everyone, everybody and everything. Well, that's what I'd like to see, not what I want. That they make them choices for themselves, not because it's the right thing or the wrong thing, because that's what they want, because that's what they feel is best. Like they tell you, if you want to be good, you got to be a good person to go to heaven. So what they're saying to you is, be good and you'll get rewarded. You'll get to go to heaven. No, to be good is good to be good. And that's all. That's the only thing that makes a difference. It's good to be good. Not it's good because you're going to get something out of it, To be good, to behave and do the right thing because it is the right thing. Not because you're disciplined or told or pushed into it. So it's the only real discipline is self-discipline, because all the other disciplines, like when you're disciplined as a child and you lie to your parents, you say you go to the movies when you go to the pub with your mates, So discipline causes deceit, lies, cheating, and a generation gap. So it's better to know and to let your kids have their own conscience and to tell them that. So you got to live with yourself. You got to question what you do for yourself, not me. I'm not gonna even become involved. I'm just gonna be there for you and help you, but you've got to learn from what you do for yourself, And that's where I think people are wrong. But this discipline stuff is your conscience making their conscience do the right thing when they should have their own conscience. I told my kids when they were very young, a free conscience is a happy conscience. And the most important thing to be is what you are, a person. You can be a good doctor, you can be a good surfer, you can be a good soccer player, you can be a good everything else. But unless you're a good person, you're not doing what's right. So the most important thing to be good at is what you are.
What's the hang-up about discipline?
They had secrets, like sexual secrets and things like that I didn't want to know about anyway. But in a total sense, they never kept a thing from me because there was no consequences. That's why kids hide things from their parents, because of the consequences of the parents knowing. So they keep it from them. So, and it's repeated. You know that, and you go up, you become a parent, and you do the same thing. And your kids lie to you like you lie to yours. It's a repeated thing. It's a repeated cycle in society. That's what I'm talking about, conditioning. Talking about we grow in a culture where we're taught how to think, how to live, what to eat, how to act, without question. We take everybody's word for it because we're only kids. We don't know. So we think that they're smarter than us and they know best. When really they don't. They only learnt what we learnt from their parents. And it's passed on and on and on. That's why, for me, racism goes on.
How should you help the kids realize their consciousness?
When you have children, you should give them their own conscience to live with, not yours. Like I seen a little boy one day picking flowers out of a tree. And I could have gone up and said to him, "Hey mate, don't pick flowers, that's wrong. Stop it." But I thought, no, I'll go another way. And I said, "Do you like honey?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Do you know that the bees pick pollen out of the flowers to make the honey?" He said, "Do they?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "And if you pick all the flowers, all the bees die and we get no honey." He said, "Oh, shit." So he realised for himself not to pick the flowers. So discipline shouldn't be discipline. There should be explanation. If you haven't got an explanation for something, you're wrong. If you tell your kids they can't go out because they're not old enough, explain to them the dangers and how much you love them and protecting them. And you want them to grow up and enjoy life when they get older. It'll come. Don't just say, "You're not going. I'm your father." Give them a conscience. Give them a conscience for them to have their own conscience. Like my son, he was brought home by the police one night. They were just running around as 15-year-olds do because they couldn't go to pubs or clubs or anything. They built a bonfire around the back of the school and we're all sitting around having fun together. And the cops seen them and chased them, brought them home. Well, I shook the police's hand, thanked them very much for looking after my son. They were a little bit, because most people abuse the shit out of them and say, "How dare you do this to my son?" I said, "Thank you very much. It's good to know that there's police out there that care about kids." I said, "They're not in any trouble, not in any trouble." So Corey went to bed that night, and the next day, or about a week later, he said, "Dad," he said, "you never even went crook at me. You didn't say one thing. You didn't even bring it up." He said, "Why?" I said, "Corey, because if that's the worst thing you're going to do in life, that'll do me, I said, "I'm not going to judge you for being a kid and doing what you did. The police said you didn't do anything wrong. They just brought you home because of the danger of you being out as a kid at night. That was the thing." And I said, you've got to answer to yourself. I can't answer what you do for you. You have to answer. I used to tell them when they were very young, the most important thing to be good at is what you are, a person. But a person also has to live with himself, live with his conscience. He can hide from the whole world, but he can't hide from his conscience. His conscience will keep kicking him in the ass. So a free conscience is a happy conscience. So if kids learn that, you don't have to discipline them because they know that their conscience is what makes them feel free and contented if they don't, do the wrong thing by it. Simple as that. And they'll learn by their mistakes.
Didn't Corey ask you once why you never grounded him?
Yeah, he said, "Dad, I don't get this grounding stuff," because I never punished him. Never. And he's grown up to be, the three of them have never been in trouble with the police. Adam, who still lives here, he's 30-something. He's never yelled at me in 20 years. Never raised his voice. Never been discontented. He might have, but he's never shown it.
You know, that's his brilliance, and that's the brilliance that I brought up, that these kids have such a good conscience, such a good understanding of life and themselves, that they don't need to be upset or angry at me. You know, they talk to me with great respect and understanding, and if they want me to understand where they're coming from, they talk to me on a level without raising their voice or anything, you know. So that's what is achieved. To anybody, if they want to know, just get Cahill Gibran. It's called The Prophet, and there's a poem in it. You can get it downloaded. It's called The Children. The Children, that will explain you what that poem will explain you what I'm on about. It's me, Johnny. I'm home.